Hello and welcome back. Um, Joining us for this interview, we have the head coach of Cal State Monterey Bay men's basketball team, Isaac Williams. Thanks for joining us today, Coach.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's just get a chance to talk a little bit about the Otters. You guys have 5 games under your belt already this year, and seeing quite a new roster from what we saw in the CCAA tournament last year. Could you just tell us a little bit about this year's version of the team and maybe what you've learned about your team through the first 5 games?
Sure. Yeah. We are very young. We had 7 brand new freshmen. We had a couple of redshirt freshmen. We had some returning sophomores, and only just a couple upperclassmen up there that saw really good experience in last year's run. So it's been interesting all year. Prior to the games, people asking me how I thought we'd be, and I think my standard answer is I really have no clue. we have such a new group. So I've been learning through these first couple of weeks in these 5 games, just like everybody else. And it's been exciting to see young guys play really well at times, and frustrating to have them play, poorly at other times, and sometimes in the same game. Actually, oftentimes in the same game. So we've had some ups and downs here early on, but I think the thing I like the most is we just have great character people. Something that we've really been building towards since the beginning when we first got here. And this group is probably the closest of any of the Monterey Bay teams that I've had since I've been here. And so I don't know what our ceiling is, but I'm certain that whatever that is, we'll reach it based on the people and the character that are in the uniform. So I think that's been the best part so far.
Well, good. That's good to hear. You talked about it being a new group, people that have needing to come together this year. Oftentimes, one of the things that takes some time to come together is the offense. But I'm looking down at the stat sheet for you guys right now, third in the conference in scoring, a little bit over 77 points a game, second in 3-point percentage at right around 39%, and then first in assist to turnover ratio. What do you feel has helped you guys click on that end of the floor through this part of the season?
Well, I appreciate you not bringing up our defensive numbers. We probably spent too much time on that side of the ball, which is not unusual for our teams. But in all seriousness, again, offense to me is about having people that are completely unselfish, and that doesn't mean that they don't shoot a lot of shots. I think people mistake that for selfishness. I think if you're good at a particular shot and you get open to shoot it a whole bunch of times given a game because of the way a team plays you, then you should shoot it all those times and I want those players to have the confidence to do it. At the same time, an unselfish person understands that some coaches' particular game plan may be to take them away, and they might need to do something else to create good shots for their teammates. And that's sometimes a hard sell if the person is selfish by nature. But I think this group in particular, it's been an easy sell to just let's take what's the best available thing for our team. They obviously are talented players. Anybody who gets into this league and can play at this level is a talented player, but getting them to play together is really a credit to them and their unselfishness and their care for their teammates. And they don't really, somebody averages 20, only shoots 5 times. They don't care as long as the team is getting the shots that we need to compete and give us a chance to win on a given night. So that is probably their character, again, is probably the biggest reason for that. And it's made it easy because they get along. You don't have people people aren't just shooting shots just to shoot them. They want to see their teammates succeed. So if they're kind of open and somebody else is really open, they don't mind making that extra pass, or they don't mind seeing somebody shoot 10 times more than them because they're just happy for their success. So I think a lot of the things that whatever successes we've found so far has been a big compliment to that and their ability to just play for sure.
And you maybe already touched on this next question I have for you a little bit in your last answer, but I'm still going to ask it. So tell me something that if a fan or somebody else were to look through a box score or a stat sheet, what is one of the strengths of the Otters that don't show up in the box score?
Oh, wow. I would encourage people to, when they watch our team play, is just watch the interaction between the guys on and off the floor, whether it be the bench whether they're playing some minutes in that game or no minutes in that game. Watch the interactions when we make mistakes between the seniors and the freshmen. And I think what you would find is a group of people that are really accepting of one another. It doesn't mean that there aren't frustrating times, and it's a competitive sport, so there is some of that. But I think that you would find, relative to other programs, we have a group of guys that are really supportive of one another. And that's what I think. If you were just going to look at our team and not worry about the box score, I think that you would see a lot of that. I do think because we have guys that can space the floor from the 3-point line, it does give some other opportunities for guys to get on the lane and do some things too. So there is the threat of the 3-pointer from our guys, I think, opens up a lot of things. So from a technical standpoint, you may not see 18 made threes like you would see, but you see really good shots from really good players, and spacing on the court be good because of it.
Good. Great answer. All right. You talk about it being a young team. So obviously you guys are continuing to improve throughout, or you hope you continue to improve throughout the season. I know who you are right now is not who you're going to be at the end of the year. So I have a couple questions to go with that one. Let's say somebody that doesn't get a chance to watch you very much, somebody from the GNAC pops in your film in mid-February. What do you want them to describe your team as? What do you want the identity of your team to be to a different coach?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think if, later on down the road, people look at our team, I hope they see the biggest thing would be our togetherness. And I think where it doesn't show all the time right now, and some of the reasons why we've struggled for a few halves, we've lost 3 games. In all 3 games, we've had, really good chance to win. 2 of them, we led by double figures in the second half. So we know that the ability is there, but I hope that they would see a more mature team, a team that executes on offense, and their attention to detail on defense is at a much higher level than what it is right now here in the end of November. Because right now our lapses are, an immature team makes irrational decisions on offense, whether it be shot selection or sometimes it's overpassing, or when to shoot versus when to pass, or what type of shot, or can we get something easier. On defense, it comes down to, can you execute what you practice every day, or are you going to have guys kind of shortcutting situations, breaking off from the plan that leave the other four guys wondering what's going on. So I think if you saw us now, you'd probably wonder, are we as good an execution team on both sides as we need to be? And it comes and goes. And I hope that in a few months here, people will look and say, oh, wow, that's a team that doesn't beat themselves. You're going to have to go beat them. And right now, I think no disrespect to the teams that have beat us, because they've played really well. But we've had a hand in that too. So I hope that improves.
That's fair. So you obviously get together with your team. You had your first chance to meet all the guys, kind of come together in September. They're doing conditioning. You have your first practice October 15th. But so you guys get a chance to practice together, for 3 weeks. And now you've been in your season for about 3 weeks as well. Tell me what surprised you about your team, that you've learned about your team once you've got into season, that maybe you weren't expecting when you guys were just in practice.
Yeah, I think when we talked about this a little bit before, but I really I didn't really know what to expect, because we had so many new people and so many young people that were going to have to contribute. I mean, we had a bunch of guys that never played a college game, and not just the freshmen that are brand new, but we had some returners that hadn't been in games either. So it was hard to understand or to kind of predict what it was going to be like. But I think one of the big surprises is we have had some really good stretches of offense, like you detailed in your question earlier. And I wasn't really sure if we'd be quite to that level so early. But again, we never had to really coach too much of, hey, we don't need that, we're more looking for this. It pops up here and there in the critical moments. But for the most part, we've been able to just concentrate on the X's and O's. And sometimes as a coach, your job is to just put out fires. And most of your fires are based on character or personality or work ethic or toughness. Then it just takes away from your opportunity to coach basketball. And with this group, we've really been able to coach basketball from the first day. And we haven't had any of those other things kind of creep in. So I think that you hope that, but it's been a surprise that it's been so good from the very beginning, and a pleasant one for sure.
Good, good. You have touched on this a little bit. I have two more questions for you. I'm going to ask this one maybe a little bit again, and it might make you repeat a couple of answers. But as we talked about, give me 2 or 3 things that you feel could be true steps for the Otters that you guys can be better on March 1st than you are on December 1st.
Yeah, well, we'll need to be a much better defensive team in a few areas. We'll need to be better understanding like our schemes. That's one thing that people don't talk a lot about. When you have a lot of new guys, whether they be freshmen or transfers or whatever, they're still coming from other situations where they had a defensive structure that was unique to whatever that situation was. And when you're bringing in all these new guys, and for us, we have new coaches. I'm a new assistant coach, so it's a lot of people trying to learn things for the first time. And so we're just not quite there in that way defensively. And we don't have a great habit of blocking out and giving a great attention to detail on the rebounding end either, where I think our better teams that I've coached over the years here or elsewhere have been really good rebounding teams. And that was one of the things that helped us last season. So I think the 2 areas I really would want to see a big improvement is just, in this league, people are going to make shots over good defense, but I think right now we've had breakdowns where we're just giving away some pretty easy shots, guys that, think shots that people would expect to make. So I'd hope to be better there, and I'd hope to be a much tougher defensive rebounding team as we move along here. So that would be my hope.
Great answer.
You're gonna have to let's Zoom again later on and check in maybe weekly to see if we're making improvements because.
Well, I like it. I like the challenge there, and you give me some follow-up questions. Hopefully, we can talk about it before the CCAA tournament. All right, final question for you on this one. You've talked about some of the goals on the court, talking about improving rebounding, talking about improving defense or something like that. But talk to me about maybe some goals you laid out for your team this year, or maybe some goals that they have that they would like to accomplish during the CCAA season and the rest of the year as a whole.
Yeah, it's funny as a coach, you're doing 2 things at once. You're coaching the team that you have, and the team is the group of people that are associated with the program this season that are putting the jerseys on. The players, the managers, the coaches, that's the team. And you're trying to get the best out of that group. And you also are thinking about the program as the head coach. And that's all the players that have played previously that have been involved in the program, whether you've coached them or not. And it's all the players that you hope to get a chance to coach in the future in your program. And you want to see that be on a steady incline. Well, it's no secret that the first few years here were a real struggle at Monterey Bay while I was here. And last year we saw some real signs of growth and maturity as a program. And now what you want is to be able to just continue that. And there's an expectation of winning that you want to try to have with each and every group that you have. And so we're trying to impress onto our guys that, yeah, we're new, we're young, but the standard is now higher than it was when we first got here in our first few years. And we want to continue to improve as a program. And if we do that, then this team will be looked at as a success. So they can kind of see where they fit into it. And they can see that there's a responsibility there to them to kind of keep us moving in the right direction, which they all want to be a part of. And I think the other part is the people, we have 2 seniors in particular. We have 3 on the roster, but 2 in particular, J.R. Schilling and Jared Williams, who spent 5 years here, and they were on a team that won 2 games as freshmen. Both of them actually started. JR started about half of the games, and Jared started a bunch of them. And they've seen us go from 2 wins to last year. I mean, we were ranked in the West region in one poll, and going into the last weekend, we maybe had an outside chance to win the conference. We had 2 wins against top 10 teams. We saw a lot of growth. And they don't want to feel like that was the apex of their career. They came back for their senior year when they both could have moved on and got into the real world. And I think the rest of the guys have responsibility to them to kind of send them out on a high note, and so that they feel like they are continuing the growth of the program. And so what that means, I'm not sure, but we want to end the season feeling like we took another step in the right direction towards our ultimate goal of the program, which would be to be a perennial contender for the conference title, the way that the Chico States and the San Bernardinos and, you know, some of those teams have been able to do. You know, we want to put our name up there with those guys. And I don't know if we're there yet, but I think it's important that our guys feel like those are the goals that we want to try to aspire to.
Yeah, great ones. So let's talk about it this one. You guys are right now entering conference play this coming week. You weren't one of the teams that played last week, but you have it coming in. And just to be honest, you do have two of those perennial powers probably coming to your place that first week. I mean, let's be honest, Cal Poly Pomona and San Bernardino, at least at this point, pretty good. So looks like you guys have a little opening challenge there. But Coach, we just want to say thank you very much for just taking some time to talk to us, hear about the state of the Otters program, hear about your team this year, and just, like you said, get it from the words of the coach. So thank you for your time. And as you mentioned, I really hope we get a chance to talk about those things on the defensive end of the ball before our CCAA tournament, which will be in early March 2nd through the 4th in Turlock. So hope to see you there.
Yeah, thank you. And just in case, I don't want Coach Kamansky using this as bulletin board material. Pomona is one of those perennial powers. So I know we play them next. I did not mention them that a slight. They have had our number the whole time we've been here. So I hope he lets us get our team to at least 50 points and doesn't the defense. So looking forward to the challenge for sure. Thanks for everything.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time too, and good luck the rest of the season.
All right. Thank you.